Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to my podcast, Fit Talk with Coach Luis. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. That, what are we now, 4 years into it? Which blows my mind. But I am really excited about this year, 2024. This first episode with registered dietitian Jessie is the first episode of the year, and I am very, very excited to have her on board. We actually work together through Nudge Health. We'll talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about a few things, but I am really excited because I am with some new toys. I shout out to Gailey, which she'll actually be on the show next month, and she also has her own podcast. So I'll give you all her info as well. But she told me about this Pod Track P4, and this thing is amazing. I love it. It's so portable. It's easy to use. Very, very straightforward. I can take it in my backpack, hook it up to my microphones, headphones, and I'm ready to roll. Straight through the laptop, it's just amazing. I love it, and this is just me saying it. I obviously bought it with my own money. They didn't ask me to do this. I just really, really like working with it, and my Zeus Pro from Uncharted Supply. Oh my goodness, this is meant to jumpstart diesel trucks, but it's also delicate enough to charge my PodTrack P4. So, Uncharted Supply as well. Thank you guys for making multiple use products, which I love. And no, they don't pay me to say that either. Uh, but one thing I really did want to talk to you guys about before we got into the episode was about focus, about feeling dialed in. With me, I took a big step back from creating new content and just taking a break. I actually needed a big mental break. There was a lot going on in my life, a lot of changes and the unknowns, uncertains, and I know it obviously happened to all of us, but we're all in our own world and we're all deal with it in our own specific ways. And that's the main reason why I took a step back, and I'll definitely talk more about that as this year progresses. But one of the things that is not easy at all to do is creating new content. I love doing it, and I like coming out with new ideas and collaborating. You guys know that's my jam, but it requires a lot of focus and energy, and it could be really hard to balance them. Too much energy and you feel amped up and ready to bounce off the freaking walls instead of feeling dialed in. And that was one of the things that was happening to me a lot too, was I was really taking way too much caffeine. And I was on Instagram. I remember that's how I found it. It was Magic Mind, and it's a little shot. I started drinking those green shots in the mornings, and I love them. I reached out to them, and they send me some to give a try, just to see what my honest thoughts are. There's no, it's completely unbiased. I actually just really like it, and the properties are great. It's just 12 ingredients, really clean. One of the biggest things I like is that it has matcha and ashwagandha, and I started drinking those shots like I was saying in the morning, and I love it. They help me so much. They get me on the right state of the mind for a productive day. I usually drink them before my morning walks. That's one of the things I've been doing every morning as a routine is my morning walks. I have not let anything get in the way as much as possible. And after about 3 days of taking them, I feel way better in the mornings, and I'm happier throughout the day thanks to the adaptogens that boost your mood and help you relax. Like I was saying, ashwagandha is an adaptogen that reduces stress and anxiety. So seeing how well it works for me, I would really encourage you guys to try it out if you're having trouble being at 100% in some days. It's a total game changer for me. And what Magic Mind did, the team, they created a really, really super offer for me to share with you guys. So here it is. You get up to 56% off your first subscription in the next 10 days and 20% off your one-time purchase with Coach Luis 20. That's my code at checkout. You can get the discounts through magicmind.com/Jan Coach Luis. Jan for January. So it's magicmind.com/Jan Coach Luis and redeem the discount code Coach Luis 20. But definitely hurry up because that total of 56% discount only lasts for the 10 days of our episode airing date. So today, as I'm recording this, it is the 24th of January 2024. This episode will air, as long as everything goes as planned, on the 26th. So to get that massive discount, it'll be 10 days from the episode airing date, okay? But you can always use the Coach Lewis 20 code at any time for 20% off. But that's that. I just wanted to share that with you guys. You know I don't share anything on here at all unless I've used it or truly believe in it. So that's from me to you, and enjoy it if you try it. And without further ado, we'll get into our episode with Jessie.
Welcome to Fit Talk with Coach Luis. If you're serious about getting fit, then this is your show. This is a podcast where fitness enthusiasts share all the ups and downs, the challenges, and the victories on their fitness journey. Now, here's your host, Coach Luis.
Woohoo!
Yup, that is my man, John Carter. I never get tired of listening to that. I always get hyped up. Every time I hear it, I'm like, yes, that guy's the man.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Ready to go. But yeah. So again, thanks Jessie so much for coming on the show and just chatting it up with me and hearing about you and all your achievements and the things you've done. It's awesome. So
thank you for having me. It's my first time, and I think it's a pleasure just to be asked. So thank you for asking me.
Absolutely. So a little bit about Jessie. She is a registered dietitian. She has 2 bachelor degrees. One is in health science and another is in dietetics. She has a master's degree in dietetics. Her husband and her own a CrossFit gym. What? CrossFit St. Robert. Shout out to you guys. And they will own a second gym, most likely this spring in Montana, Smelter City CrossFit. And hopefully I get to go out to Montana soon and I can go check that gym out.
Yeah.
She has her level 1 CrossFit certification and is currently studying to become a certified specialist in sports dietetics. And the exam is in March, so fingers crossed and all the best wishes to you. And as we probably all guessed, she is a huge lover of CrossFit. She loves the intensities, the results, and the competitiveness that CrossFit provides. And I completely agree with you. I go to Real Fitness Naples here, and man, it's good. I used to go till the end of time. And if you're listening to this, Marty, DBG CrossFit in Virginia, that I will forever love that place. That is my home of CrossFit right there. So Marty, I love you guys, miss you guys like crazy, but awesome. Let's get into this. So Jessie, tell us about you. Like, let's take a little bit of a step back. Give us some of your backstory, like where you grew up, what were you like before you found fitness and all that.
So I grew up in Montana, and I would say fitness has always been a really just an important aspect. I always watched my mom engaging in fitness, and so it was just one of those great things that was passed on to me. My dad also has a business that he always was very active. His business was very active, so it's just like a lot of outdoor stuff. Big skiing and snowboarding family. I started skiing at the age of 3, and then I went into competitive skiing, and then I transitioned over to snowboarding, and that was always just a big thing. That my mom is still she's a fabulous skier, and she's 65 and just is
so awesome.
I mean, it's impressive to watch my mom. My grandma stopped skiing at 80. And so it was just good genes for, physical activity and getting outside. And running has always been a love of mine because I think it's been more of a mental break for me. Running has been, and I love distance running. I I've done ultra marathons and just normal marathons, but just finding avenues of fitness has always been kind of my goal, I guess. Areas that, well, I love fitness, but I want to continue to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I got into the bodybuilding world and I stopped enjoying fitness as much, but I got very kind of addicted to fitness
Mm-hmm.
because you get these results and it's something that we continuously like strive for, and it's not really realistic. And that was hard for me. I come from an eating disorder background, and so that was a really challenging area for me. And then I was like, I love cardio. I love high intensity. Why don't I try CrossFit? And then I tried CrossFit and I've been hooked ever since. I started CrossFit in um 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So quite a while. And then like growing up, I just played all the sports. Volleyball was my favorite, basketball, and I ran track. So I've just been very active, and I've loved using. I just feel blessed to have a body that I'm able to utilize, and I love being able to feel good and
Yeah.
have energy, and physical activity has always provided that for me. So
Yeah, absolutely. So,
yeah.
like, out of all of those things, which are all just awesome and very, very encouraging, very
Hmm.
like motivating, like, I want to go work out right now.
I know.
Your grandmother, like,
Yeah.
she stopped skiing, which is skiing is a very tough sport to
Yeah.
do at any age, even like when you're at your best. It's a very uh, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very
Well,
taxing sport on your
yeah, and
body.
it's full body. Like
Yeah,
you're really using every part of your body, and you also need like cardiovascular endurance, which a lot of people just think you get on skis and you head downhill, and
yeah,
it's a lot of muscular endurance,
yeah,
cardio, and yeah. So she's, she was an avid golfer until about 80, I think, and she just kind of had to slow down a little bit. My
yeah.
other grandma, who's 91,
Oh
does
my God,
CrossFit twice a week
I love it.
still,
I
and
love it.
she's 91, and she recently fell. And again, Montana, I think as the older you get, the more you kind of are worried about falling and the ice and snow.
Sure.
And she fell, but she was able to, she called me and she's like, I did a burpee because I fell and I had to get back up. So I used I used my tactic, because that's what I always used to tell her, like, if you fall, you better be able to get back up.
That's right.
And burpee is the most functional movement for anyone, but
I love
so
that.
she does CrossFit twice a week. I'm always so impressed by her, and she's now 91.
I love that. And then we start thinking to ourselves like, okay, well, what's my excuse?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're
I
like,
know.
why can't I, give my all every day if you have people that have been giving their all their whole life and now here they are
Yeah.
in their 90s and they're still doing it. Of course, they're scaling it to whatever
Yeah.
they can do, but they're doing it. And
Yeah.
that's
And
awesome.
yeah, I think what I just love about, like, especially my grandmas, is everything in their life has been consistent. And that's my favorite word of all time, because they've always been like the same weight. They've never been overweight, underweight. They've always just been a good consistent weight for them. They've always, worked. They were moms. They just like were consistent in life. They enjoyed things, but they also didn't overconsume, and
Yeah.
that really is like one of the keys, I think,
Yeah.
to just
Absolutely.
being able to enjoy your life, and it's hard for us to do that.
I agree with you. And to see them, that's how they live their life. And like you said, that's what they continue to do. and
Hmm.
and you see them today, they're
Yeah.
still that same, pretty much the same shape, they're the same person because they've been consistent. it's
Yeah.
not it's not fads, ups and downs.
Yeah.
It's just, they know what works, they stick to it. And obviously you have good genes in your bloodline, which is great. You're, like you
Yeah.
said, you've been big into sports for for your pretty much your entire
Hmm.
life. And so tell me also, you said you were offered a full ride to play volleyball. Like how,
Yeah.
tell me about that.
Oh yeah. So when it comes to sports, like volleyball was it for me. I loved everything about the game, and it's hard to I tell a lot of guys that and they're like, volleyball is the worst sport to watch, but they've never really played it.
Volleyball's a lot of fun.
It
I
is,
love playing
especially if
volleyball.
you like get into sand volleyball and
Yeah.
you know that it's so much fun. But yeah, so I was the libero or the defensive specialist for our team, and I just loved it. I loved the excitement, and um so I did receive a full ride when I was a senior in high school, and unfortunately I was undergoing a very um, just mental struggle with mainly a little bit of depression, anxiety, but really having a hard time with body image and my identity, I think. And as especially teenage girls,
Hmm.
it's a rough time in life. And so I again was a runner and very active in sports. So physical activity was used as a detriment more to me. I was overdoing everything and
Yeah.
developed a very vicious, unhealthy cycle of. I was a bulimic and anorexic and overexerciser. I basically did it all. And I was encouraged by my parents and my therapist to go into an inpatient treatment facility in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Hmm.
So I spent about 3.5 months there when I was a senior. So a weird time in life again because I was pulled out of my environment and now
Yeah.
put into a new environment and really struggled in inpatient. It's a very strange environment when you're I was 18, so I was technically an adult, so I was on the adult ward, but I was still a teen because I was in high school. I was a
Right.
student. So I had to kind of fluctuate between both wards per se, and it was just I didn't fit in anywhere is how I felt. And a lot of the adults were dealing with more mental illnesses or addictions, etc. The teens were dealing with, self-destructive issues, and I just didn't feel like I fit in, and so I got worse. And then I got out of treatment, and I was a very low weight. I remember jogging once, and I tripped, and I just felt like I lost all my coordination, and so I had to decline my volleyball scholarship, and so which was probably a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
I went to a great school, and I was surrounded by just really awesome team of outpatient, like a specialty team for eating disorders, and I met a dietitian, and she was like my inspiration. And then I'll never forget when I was in my internship in Montana, she presented at one of like our conferences, and I was like, "Hey, do you remember me?" She's like, "Yes."
Oh,
But
wow.
it was just cool to see like full circle, like
Yes.
things happen for a reason. And I do feel like that, like I went through that trial in my life to now help others in nutrition and fitness. So
Absolutely. And thank you so
yeah,
much for sharing that, because
yeah,
I know that's kind of reliving it by thinking it also is not always the easiest to do. And, I grew up very overweight. So talking about those things at one point was so tough, so difficult. But
yeah,
to your point of going through those things and then kind of doing something with it,
yeah,
now you can really help people and touch people in a different way, because you can truly say, I know how you feel. I
yeah,
understand how difficult it is, because you understand all the emotions that goes through someone's head just by looking at a plate of food,
yeah,
versus someone else that's never had to deal with it. And that's great if you haven't had to deal with it, but then you don't
yeah.
really understand all the emotions going through your head just because of that specific thing. So that's just so great that you were able to use that and turn that into into a positive.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's just been again, it's been something that I'm I didn't love to go through, but now I'm just kind of glad I went through it because
Yeah.
I do relate so much to patients and just people in general. I think a lot of people struggle with body image and
Yeah.
just kind of feeling like they're not in the right body maybe, or just identity is difficult, and so I can just relate to that, so it's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, around the age of 25 is when
Hmm.
you found CrossFit. So, how do you feel that that changed your life?
Oh gosh, I'll
I
never
mean,
forget.
probably not that much. Not like you have your own CrossFit gym or anything like that. So,
Yeah, it was well, it's where I met my husband, and it was just life changing for me, really. And um yeah, I'll never forget the first day I walked into the CrossFit gym, because that's the hardest part, is walking into a CrossFit gym.
absolutely
And then you
is.
get there and you're like, "Oh, wait. Everybody's just like me," or like everyone's different sizes. The 1% that we see on, at the CrossFit Games or something, I don't even know if it would be 1%, but it's very rare to see those types of athletes. And so to see others that are just, trying to figure it out and go through life enjoying fitness, it
Mhm.
was really great. But I'll never forget, the workout was strict pull-ups and handstand push-ups, two of my favorite movements of all time. And I walked in and I was like, "Yeah, I can do strict pull-ups." They're like, "You can?" "Yeah." "Can you do handstand push-ups?" "Yeah, I can do handstand push-ups." "Okay." And I was like, I mean, I'm made for this workout. And it was like, I can't remember what else is in there, but it was like running or something, which I
Yeah.
enjoyed. And so I'll never forget that, because it was like, it was just kind of meant for me, and I enjoyed it so much. And then it was so addicting. I kind of also had to like step back and um just so, also a little backstory as well. I broke my back when I was 21.
Ooh.
Not my best move in life, but I stepped off of an unfinished deck and I just landed and it compressed my vertebrae. So like weightlifting has been so important to me because of that.
Yeah.
And it's been so helpful in my recovery to have a strong back and continue to deadlift and do compound movements. And so I got a little obsessive over CrossFit, of course, because I get obsessive over most things. And it really was eye-opening to be like, okay, you also have to, like, CrossFit's very strategic in how, if you have good programming, you're able to really kind of mitigate I guess the increase of injury. And that was something that I had to learn and like leave my ego at the door. So it was very, sorry, can you hear me still?
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it was very just eye-opening in that sense. But I love CrossFit because there's always something to work on, and you can always get better at something, and it forces you to do that, and I think that's so cool.
It really does. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing the sport. You can always get better at something, perfect
Always.
something. I literally just learned a new, better, a more effective way of holding the bar for when you're going to do like a clean or a jerk, when you're going to snatch the bar
Yeah.
up. Just that wrist placement was a little bit of a tweak, a little bit of an adjustment. And just with that alone, it made it to where I was like, oh my gosh, why haven't I been doing this
Yeah.
for the last 20 years? And it was just, and that was again at the Real Fitness Naples. He was like, oh, Luis, look, I'm noticing that you're lifting good, but do use this and try it, see what you think. And I was like, dude, that was a completely changed everything for me.
Yeah.
Like I was able to lift another, I think it was like another 15 or something pounds on the snatch or the
Yeah.
clean, just with the wrist placement. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
This is
And then
great.
it was like if I was just in it for the first time all over again. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, this is so cool. What can I do
It's so
now?
fun, and
It is.
and you feel like you're doing it right, and it's like, oh, this feels better
Yeah,
too.
my
Wow.
wrists don't hurt anymore. What? But yeah, it's just so nice to have And the thing that I love about it is the community of it all,
Mm-hmm.
the camaraderie of it all, where everyone is there for the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's your day one or day 306. Doesn't matter. Everyone's there to do the work. Everyone's there
Yeah.
just to like push each other, like you said, leave ego at the door. And of course, like if you're competing, whatever, you have different mindset. But everyone
Yeah.
there is there for the same exact thing, which I
Yeah.
love that, and I love that everyone wants to help each other. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see that. Um,
Yeah, for sure. We
yeah,
always say in our gym, we say we want this to be the best hour of your day, and that's our goal. And we want people to be excited about getting off of work and like hustling to the gym or
yeah,
going at 5 a.m. Who really likes to work out that early?
yeah.
But people hold each other accountable, and that's also I love the CrossFit community and um just the community like we've built here is a military base community. So we have a
Nice.
lot of people in and out, but people will say that like we're the best first CrossFit experience they've ever had because we have such a great community. And that's, I think my husband's our head coach, but he really like makes that something that's really important for him is like he wants everyone to enjoy coming and for it
Very
to be the
cool.
best hour of the day. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's nice. That's so good that you both have that mentality, and then you're both trying to make it work for everyone that shows up. Also,
Yeah.
that you want everyone to feel good, and because you
Yeah.
care, you actually care about
Yeah. I
the
want to know
athletes
their
that are there.
names. I want to know where they're from. And I
Yeah.
think it's just rare in most, Globo gyms or anything. It's,
Mhm.
you don't know the person next to you. And
Right. Right.
so,
And it is a big
uh,
difference. Yeah, it does make a
yeah,
big difference. Absolutely.
yeah,
So,
for sure.
so what would you say drove you to being? I know we've talked a little bit about it, but so how much has driven you to be healthy and more into fitness, and then what led you to wellness as a career?
Yeah. So, and we have talked a little bit about it, but I would say I've always known I wanted to be in the wellness healthcare field of some sort. And so, I guess I just didn't know what I wanted to do to start. But then going through again my personal struggles kind of led me to dietetics for sure. And that's where I pursued that. And just what was the first question, the start of it?
So, what drove you to being healthy
Healthy,
and into
yeah.
fitness? Yeah,
Again, I think seeing others do it in my family has always just been something that I've tried to continue to do, and it's just been a part of my life, and it's again been a consistent factor in my life or a consistent habit. And I know that I feel well. I'm not tired. I have energy, and that's my main goal. Like I want to
yeah,
feel good. I don't really care what I'm doing for physical activity as long as it makes me feel good and I have a lot of energy. I'm now a mom, and so being able to like keep up with your kids is real.
yeah.
And I always thought like I have tons of energy, and then you meet like a 2-year-old and you're like, oh, maybe I don't. But so that's kind of the reason that I love the feeling of being fit, and I love just how I feel in general with energy. And
Yeah, yeah,
it's
absolutely.
just a good feeling. And also I've done my education, and I think that's one of the missing pieces that a lot of people haven't done is either they haven't had background education just by their career or something, but learning more about why we need to do things for better health is really, really important. And physical activity is like, I mean, every disease state, everything you could ever talk about, if you are active, it reduces it significantly. And so I feel like, I want to be around for a long time, and I think if I'm able to work out for like a tenth, I don't even know, if maybe a fifth of my day,
Yeah,
and I can do that. So
yeah, exactly. I think it's completely, like you said, it's doable.
yeah,
We can do it if we really want to. We can find the time. You know,
right.
if you can't
Yeah,
find,
always.
yeah, if you, I've always said that if you cannot find not even 5 minutes to do like an EMOM, a 5-minute
Yeah,
EMOM
you could do
will
10
be great.
burpees on the minute.
And if you can't do that, if you don't have time for that, then we need to reevaluate like your life priorities because
Yeah.
come on, like there
Yeah.
has to be
You
time.
got time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you were saying that you met the dietitian while
Yes.
you were in treatment for your eating disorder.
Hmm.
And you said you felt a strong connection with her. So, why did you feel such a strong connection with her? Like what
I
was that about?
guess she always she always just was like so personable and easy to connect with, and um she was, I guess, maybe one of the first dietitians that I really worked with. But I've met a lot of healthcare professionals and they are not the most personable, and a lot of dietitians that I've worked with are not. And I really just could, like, I could come in and I could be who I needed to be for her, and she was like, "That's okay. Let's work on that." Like, she made me feel human, and like a lot of my mistakes were not mistakes. They were just, this is part of the journey. Let's figure out how to get through it, and how to get like around this barrier or through the obstacle or whatever it may be. But she just made me feel like I could come in and lay it all out there, and no judgment. It was just, she was there to help me, and I really felt a strong connection with that, and I just loved going to see her. And um I think that's so important for anybody that you see in terms of healthcare. But when you can really, like, you enjoy talking to this person,
Yeah.
it's so like life changing,
It,
because you don't even really need to talk about what's going on. If you can just relate to the person a little bit and they make you feel like you can share, then it's really just pretty cool connection. So I always just remember that about her, and yeah,
it's
she was great.
that's so true because you feel then that they get it. You feel
Hmm.
that they actually get you, that they're there to really listen and be alongside you in that journey, not just okay, it's my 3 o'clock and let's see what's gonna
Yeah,
happen now, and then just kind of like let's wrap it up and all that stuff. So
yeah, which
that's
is
huge. Yes, it
very
is.
common, and
Yes, it is.
especially in the world of nutrition. It's like,
Yeah,
and patients really, they want that connection, and and so I had that with her, but it was great.
that's
I'll never
awesome.
forget her. Yeah, she was awesome.
What is? Do you remember her name?
Jennifer Colgrove.
Hi, Jennifer Colgrove.
Hi, Jennifer. She's in Helena, Montana, and she, I believe, is still at St. Peter's Hospital in Helena. So
That's awesome.
she's
Well,
great
Jennifer,
dietitian.
you did a great job, and here's Jessie now, following
To
in here in the footsteps. Like literally, the
Yeah,
reason one of like the main reason you became a dietitian.
yeah,
That's just so awesome. And it's so empowering. And then, if we all have that feeling sometimes, like, are we really doing what we're
yeah,
meant to be doing? Are we really? So if she ever hears this, then if she touched anyone's lives, it's yours.
yeah.
And that is so good and so satisfying for people in the field that we're in to know that, man, I actually made an impact on somebody's life and it changed it for the best. So
Yeah.
that's
And
fantastic.
it was, so I started so I went to college in Helena, Montana. And so when I was in my senior year, I did like some shadowing of Jennifer. And I wasn't in dietetics, so it was just like job shadowing, kind of getting experience here and there. And so I shadowed her. And then it was 7 years later, I'm in my internship in Bozeman, Montana, and she rolls through the door and she looks exactly the same. I was like, "There's Jennifer." And to go up to her and say, like, "Do you remember me?" And she remembered me, and just to see like full circle her impact. And I told her, like, "You're the reason, and thank you for being the reason that I'm here today." And how cool it was to see her, and I don't think, maybe she hasn't had that interaction. I'm assuming she hasn't before with another student,
Yeah.
but
But
yeah.
yeah, you made and that's helped you also mold your
Yeah.
personality with that, where you're like, man, if it was when it was me on the other side of this conversation, what helped me? And then you can just kind of keep paying that forward and helping some other
Yeah.
people with the same thing. That's so great
Yeah.
to know that
Yeah.
you're making an impact, and it's needed. And especially to
Yeah.
have such a and the personality on top of it too, because like you said, if you don't have the personality but you have all the knowledge,
Still ain't got it.
you're not gonna reach that many people.
No, I'd rather have no knowledge and the personality. And I've said that over and over. Like, I'm not the smartest dietitian, but I can connect with patients, and that is key, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, I've met some very, very intelligent dietitians, and they just didn't have that connection or that empathy.
yeah,
And it's hard to, and like as a health coach, same exact, I'm sure you've met other health coaches that you're like, I don't
yes,
know if they got it.
yeah. It's so true. It was Knox Porter. He is one of the he was is probably the reason why I've continued doing so many things, because I met him through the concierge practice I was at, and he was one of our patients, and he's a history teacher, like
Uh-huh.
so knowledgeable. I love talking with him, but he helped me with those things. Like I'm supposed to be helping him, but it was like you said, we just had that connection, that conversation,
Yeah.
and just listening. And he told me, he says, Luis, you have that ability to connect with people, that you can't learn that. That's something that
Hmm.
you just have, like you're born with it, and either you do or you don't. And you can
Yep.
have all the knowledge in the world, but if you can't connect with someone, they will never open up because they don't feel comfortable enough opening up to you. And
Right.
just knowing those things, again, back to what we said earlier, it's like, man, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? And you always have
Yeah.
that imposter syndrome or anything like that. So just to be able to see the
Yeah.
people, kind of like it gives you that good validation.
Yeah. And that's the same with fitness. That's why I think dietetics and fitness relate so much, is because fitness is the same. I used to be a personal trainer, and you could be the smartest personal trainer, the best at kind of making up workouts or whatever it may be. But if you can't make someone feel comfortable and connect with them and have them enjoy coming, then you're just never gonna have a clientele.
Yeah.
And same with CrossFit. Like, if you're a good CrossFit coach and people are excited to see you and you have that connection, they want to come back. And so yeah, I'm definitely in the fit or the career path that I guess I should be in, because
Yeah.
I just feel like I enjoy it and I can connect with people, and it's important. So
Yeah, absolutely. So even though you've gone through all these things, you've obviously done a lot of the work. You've put in the work. You've done your part of it. But what struggles do you still deal with along the way?
yeah, I guess struggles that nutritionally, I wouldn't say, like, I always feel like when you have an eating disorder or any kind of issues with mental health, I feel like you're always a little bit battling it.
Hmm.
And you just have to find out either how to cope with it and how to maybe make something that you're doing healthier. And so, nutrition for me, it's been mainly just learning. I think the more I learn, the more I educate myself, the better it's helped me with any struggles that I may run into. And like, having a baby was always kind of a nervous thing for me, because obviously you're changing your entire image. And
Right.
I'm not going to say that it was ever something that some ladies love being pregnant, and they love to, like, I mean, it's a magical experience, but it wasn't my favorite. And
Hmm.
I struggled with body image and wanting to be the same fitness level that I was before. And I was able to maintain it basically the entire time, but it's like you still run into obstacles like that, where you're going to have to deal with barriers that, you're it's an amazing thing that you're doing and you're having kids, but it's also like it's hard on your mental health when you struggle with that, or when fitness and nutrition are such a big vital aspect of your health, and that's it kind of is taken away in a sense,
It's
and
true.
for a short time, but then like your body never really goes back to where it was at one point. So you kind of have to learn to adjust, and I think we grow in our journeys as well, and I definitely have, and I'm more accepting of myself, but it's something I have to really um really just kind of work on. And for me, it's also looking at like my spiritual health, and taking time to just kind of take care of my mental health, and that side of it, where I'm not just going. I'm like taking time to just sit down and do nothing. And I think that's really hard to do for type A people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's one area that I think I continue to try to improve upon, is just like just really having more gratification, more just being appreciative of what I have and what I'm given, and just slow down.
Yeah.
As I feel like I go too much and I'm trying to do too many things, and sometimes that just it affects my mental health for sure. So I would say those are my biggest areas that I'm always trying to improve upon, is just slowing down, enjoying the ride, and not always trying to do like 8,000 things in one day. It's hard for me not, because I just feel like that's,
I
it's as
completely could relate to
yeah,
you
it's
with
like
that.
as humans, we're like, what can we get in? We can wake up at 5 and we can do all, and that's what I did today. I think I've done something almost every hour of since 4:30 in the morning, and it's like, after a while, it's like that's hard to do every day. So
Yeah, it is. It is.
just
It
just kind of relaxing is one thing I've always had to work on.
yeah, that's in the that's one of the things that I really had to force myself to do, especially with in 2020,
Yeah.
with when literally the entire world changed for everybody. That was where so much changed for me personally. Like I had to take a huge step back. I was
Hmm.
suffering from burnout, and I didn't even realize it because that's just kind of how I've been my
Hmm.
entire life. Where it's like I gotta go, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. Like it was in it was ingrained in us growing up that if you're stopping or resting, you're being lazy. There
Yeah.
was no balance of no, it's okay. You're supposed to have that balance. You're supposed to be,
Yeah.
like you said, present. And like you said, you struggle with perfection and being present. So
Yeah.
being forgiving also for ourselves
Yeah.
is huge. And I made it a mandatory thing for myself to just okay, just take a step back, and
Yeah.
it's okay because just like you, I had so many things that trying to do at the same time because you're also trying to make an impact also on
Yeah.
on your time here on earth. You're like, what legacy am I going
Yeah.
to leave behind? What am I going to do here? And time stops for no one. So what am I going to do? And then we're like, oh, I can't. I got to wake up because if not, I'm going to waste this. But then it starts becoming that overly
Yeah.
achieving where it gets to that point where then it's not healthy,
Yeah.
and then
You will
nothing
reach burnout.
really, yeah, and then nothing really gets done because really did much get done, and you look at it, you're like, wow, okay. But then when you take a step back, and honestly me it was like 3 years, and this like for example, this is the first podcast since about a year because of that, because
Yeah.
it was too much with everything else going on, and I didn't want to not be present
Yeah.
for these very, because it's very important to me to have these episodes and have these things and have this
Yeah.
great conversation versus just, oh, I got to make sure I rush and get it in there because
Right.
the numbers or whatever. and
Yeah.
and I started doing so much work, journaling, like you said, gratitude every single
Hmm.
day, once a week. I make sure that I put in what am I grateful for that week, put it in a little notepad, fold it, put it in a little jar, and then check a year later a random one and be like, oh, cool. So just grateful for little simple things.
Yeah, that's
But
cool that
yeah, and that I
that
gotta
you've
think.
done that.
Yeah, and that was actually Ashley's idea. So thanks, Ashley.
Nice.
um,
Yeah,
so
I
it's
could
just
see that being Ashley's idea.
so it's just really good to continue to work on it
Yeah,
and
it's
as
important to do.
yeah, we're always going to struggle with those things of am I doing enough? Am I not? Again, like, what am I leaving behind or whatever? But then to be present and actually enjoy what you've done and actually take a look back and look at what you have done, not
Yeah,
just okay, well, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? Like take an actual step back and look at all the things that you have achieved, and that actually helps so much too to then give you that push forward to know, okay, I've done this much, I can absolutely do this much more. But
right.
continuing to do what you're doing and enjoying doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I the other day I had a good friend who said, because I always think about pictures and I don't take enough pictures. And he's like, but a lot of times people that take pictures often aren't enjoying the moment. Like they're not present in the moment.
100%.
And I really was like, and not saying that I couldn't snap a couple pictures, but some people like they are really good at taking pictures, but it does then that question arises like, well, are they enjoying the moment? Are they worried? And it's just a hard balance. So I think
It
if we can
is.
just try to have balance, which
Yeah.
is not easy,
It's not. It's not.
and
Especially not
behavior
nowadays.
change is, yeah, behavior change is not easy. And if
Mm-mm.
we can do most of the things that make us feel good consistently, like we're doing all right. So
Yeah.
um, that's just an area that I've always needed to. I again going back to CrossFit, it's like CrossFit is so humbling, and for somebody that's like a perfectionist like myself, or has always done really well at sports, to have CrossFit just like punch you right in the face and be like, just calm down.
Yeah.
This is not your day. And that's
Yeah.
good because I need that. I think a lot of people need that.
It's true.
And it just helps us be, a little more compassionate too, because some days somebody's gonna have a good day and maybe we're not, and vice versa. But
That's so
um,
true.
yeah,
That's so true. Like there are some days that I would go and I'm like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. And I'll just, you know what? I'm just gonna get by with today's
yeah,
workout. I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna show up and I'm
yeah,
just gonna do the work, but very just chill. Like I always
yeah.
say, scaled for life.
Oh yeah,
I'm just gonna take it
scale for
really
life.
easy and I got a good workout in. And if that's all I could give, I'm like, all right, it's fine. You know what? That's all I can give today. It's fine.
Yeah.
Instead of just
Well,
beating
that
yourself up
that kind
about it.
of you probably have heard of street parking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean they've got it. They truly nailed it on the head where it literally is about showing up, and
Yeah.
not every day is going to be a good day, and but if you can just keep showing up, like our mental health is going to be better, our overall health is going to be better. We're going to have weight maintenance, we're going to have weight loss. So it's just continuing to show up, and I think I think that's it. Like if you can just be consistent, it doesn't have to be 100% go 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 every day, but if we
Yeah.
can just continue to show up,
Yeah.
you know.
1% better every day.
That's right. Atomic Habits.
That's right. I literally
Yep.
have that. That book is right there. Right there.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
Right next
I'm
to Arnold's Be Useful book. And I,
Do you know our comprehensive nutrition program is founded after that book? Habits.
it is, isn't
Habit
it?
stacking.
I,
Yeah.
w- with the, so what she's talking about is
Oh yeah,
the
sorry, back to
comprehensive program that we both work in Nudge Health, and she is obviously the registered dietitian, one of the registered dietitians there, and she's talking about our cognitive nutrition program. So yes,
Yes. But it's all about creating consistent habits, and And once you nail in a habit, it's okay, let's add one more and let's add one more and let's make it a consistent pattern. But again, relates so much to the gym and, um, you know, it doesn't have to be, it can be whatever movement that you enjoy. I think that's just doing it, like going to yoga, going to rock climb, like whatever it may be, going out for a walk or going for a hike, like those are all, that's movement, and that's the goal. That's also what I've learned in my older years of life. Like it's okay to just do yoga for me.
That's
And
right.
that was hard for me to not feel like I had to sweat and be red in the face every single time.
Yep.
So I think again, just being present and trying to take each day, like listen to my body, see how it feels, and know that it's okay to do things that are not as intense. It's probably more preferred, honestly. We probably should do that more often. So,
You're absolutely right, though, and it's you wouldn't have figured that out if you wouldn't have done the work.
right.
You wouldn't have figured that out. That hey, it's all right to just I just want to go for a walk today a few times, and but purposeful walks.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
is I'm going out. Like my morning thing now is every morning, as long as it's as long as I could do it, and there's no like thundering out there because I live in Florida, then then I'll do my walks every single morning. That's the first thing I do. I go out there,
Nice.
go for a walk, and like I'm trying to instill more and more like on my parents, but like my mom has taken to the small little habits thing so good. Like
Yeah.
she started with me just in the mornings, back and forth here and there, and then it's like now mornings and evenings, and it's like almost every
Awesome.
single day. And just like you said, those small little changes have completely changed how she feels throughout the entire day. And
Yeah.
it's like that's all you changed. You just did something that
Yeah.
you enjoy doing, but we were very purposeful with it, and it's routine. And now she feels so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that the key word is routine and repetition. And if we can make a habit, a good habit to be like constant repetition, then it just becomes a part of like your mom probably is like, it's time for a walk.
oh
Come
yeah,
on,
oh yeah,
hustle up.
yeah. Like if I don't show up, sometimes she'll just go without me, and she'll send me a text. She goes, "Hey, I already went walking, so don't worry about it." And I'm like, "Dang, all
I
right,
know,
mom."
geez, mom.
So it's good
Yeah,
because you want
it's
your
so
parents.
great though.
It is.
It's
It,
hard to it's and that's like what I love about the book is Atomic Habits is talking about like how to break a bad habit and how to create a good habit, and it's hard to do, but if you put in the work and you fail, and that's okay if we do, but if you continuously repeat what we're trying to do, it becomes a good habit, and most likely it'll stick, and
yeah,
we're
yeah,
we're just creating. But again, it comes down to putting in the work. Sometimes you have to realize that it's going to be slow, and um it's just extremely hard to change our behaviors. We
it is.
are our own worst enemies in that sense,
Yeah,
and so I think it's awesome to try to make things that make us feel better just a part of our life, and it does not have to be very complicated. It's just little things. So
that's it. That's absolutely
that's good
right.
on your mom for sure.
Yeah,
That's
seriously. I'm so proud of them. Like, and my dad slowly, I'm like, I
He's
keep,
like, oh, you guys are doing this without me.
no, he, yeah, that's a whole nother story there. Oh, so who would you say is who's your inspiration?
Yeah, so my inspiration, I was asked this recently as well, and I would say Jesus, because I'm a Christian, and I feel like if you could just be kind and nice and be good to people, like he's probably who I would want to just mimic my life, whether you're a believer or not. Like he's just a really great person, and so that's my goal is to be a good person. I also I think my mom is somebody that she's just she's a rock star. She's one of those people that has done everything for everyone else, and she continues to just be like exactly what I want to be in my life is somebody, a great mom, just works hard, always shows up, and she's so nice and kind to others and puts others first, and that's all I really want is to and have patience. Like she's got so much patience. I wish I had a little bit more patience like she does, but um she's probably somebody that I always strive to be, and it's a compliment when people say I'm like my mom. So
Yeah.
uh yeah, so she would be it. And I have a really great mentor that his name is Garrett Garrels, and he just is awesome. Like he is one of those people, like his presence is infectious, and he created Pink Gloves Boxing. And so Pink Gloves Boxing is a woman's only boxing um, group, I guess, or it's a fitness class, but he has basically taken it throughout the entire world and he implements them in colleges. And so
Nice.
females, I really only think it's for females because it's Pink Gloves Boxing, but they sign up for like college credits. So it's like a class that they can take while in college. And so he just kind of I've known him forever. We grew up in the same town, but we also went to the same college, and he connected with me. He was 4 years older than me, and he in college just had a really positive impact on just my wellness, like my overall fitness, definitely fitness, but just everything that wellness could kind of be involved with. He was like just somebody that you wanted to be around. And
Yeah.
it's so cool to to see what he's done with his company. And um I got to be a coach for him, but I just learned a lot. And I'll never forget things that he taught me when it came to just like having a really good mindset. And if you want to be a good person, you really need to try to be a good leader and lead people and be a good influence for other people. And I mean, all these books, Atomic Habits, How to Influence Friend, or How to Win Friends and Influence People,
Yeah.
like those are things that he's just a great leader. And um, I think that's important to have somebody that you really try to mimic in terms of like entrepreneurship, because it's really cool to just see like somebody that's such a good leader. Like he would jump up on tables to start his presentation and like the room would shake, and it was just like he was like, "Hey everybody," like I'll never
I
forget
love
how he
that.
just yeah, like, and he was not a little guy. He's like 6'5" and just so agile, but he just had that presence, and it was like so infectious. So he was probably a big inspiration in my fitness journey. So uh
I
just
love
kind
it.
of a couple different types of like influences in my
Yeah,
life.
absolutely. And it's
Yeah.
so great to have people like that in our lives.
Yeah.
To come across people like that can kind of just help reshape our. I've always called it like what we grew up with is like you're trying to reprogram that environment you grew up in. Like environmental reprogramming is what I've always
Yeah.
called it. Like you're just trying to change all the mold, like the things that you were born with, things that you're trying to change your mental state. And
Yeah.
meeting people like that, reading those type of books. Another one of those books I like is 5 Gears. That is
Oh,
a lot.
I haven't read it.
It talks a lot about that too, with leadership and kind of different gears you need to put yourself in, and other people as
Yeah.
well to kind of like be in the same level. It's just all those things are so great. All these great self help books that have come
Yeah.
out are just so good to have, and we're so lucky to have them in our time. And like I know you don't like reading too many books, but what about
I don't. I'm
but
the worst.
no, I just got more into the reading the books too. Like pretty
Yeah.
much probably like the last year or two, I've been really trying hard because I like to do just like you. I like to do more audiobooks, podcasts,
Yeah.
things like that. Self improvement, like listening. I
Yeah.
really like doing those, especially when I'm like traveling or something like that. I can just hit play and just listen and stuff like that. But but yeah, those are the
Yeah.
things that I like doing too. But So for you, what do you think is your, like, what is your motivation? Like, what's your why for all the stuff we've talked about, like from the beginning?
Yeah.
What is it? What's your why?
My why is whew, that's tough and kind of always a little bit ever changing. Well, now it's changed a bit because I have kids, and I think
Hmm.
a mom most of the time would say like my why is my kids, and we do want to be around for them, but that also turns into why do I want that to be my why for my kids? And it's because my why is just to have good health, um, to I think to just be an overall like happy person, but to also spread that and share it with others, and to be able to be a good role model for other people. But in order to do that, I have to be practicing what I'm preaching, and I think that's a really valuable skill in the world of fitness and healthcare in general. But
Yeah.
um, that's my why. Like I'm telling people to do things. I need to be doing it myself, and I need to be also living what I'm practicing and preaching every day. And so that's my why is um I just want to set a good example for my kids and then for everyone around me. And I feel if I am, you know, doing what I'm telling others to do, then that's a pretty good start. So that would
Yeah.
be probably my why.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you practice what you preach, and then people can, then your words hold more weight. They have
Yeah.
more value when you actually
Oh,
practice what you
100,
preach. You know,
100%.
like what is that old saying? Do as I say, not as I do. That doesn't that
Yeah.
doesn't really work.
Yeah, I know. I might say it often, but
Yeah, but you should work out. I don't. It's like,
I know. No, that's so true. And it is inspiring for people. It's just like, I always think about like going to a barbecue and you see like you just got these people that you pick out you want to be around. And that's the type of person like I want to just kind of I always like to have a smile on my face and really just kind of people want to be around me, and that's
yeah,
my real goal. And I think if you live a healthy lifestyle, and it doesn't have to be perfect by any means, but if you live a consistently healthy lifestyle, then it's much easier to like manage things, cope with things, because I mean life is not always going to be sunshine and rainbows, but if we feel better about ourselves, then we're going to be able to handle that stuff or whatever's thrown at us a little bit better, I think. So
absolutely, absolutely.
feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling good is my goal.
And it's so, I'm so glad you brought that point up, because when you work out consistently, when you eat good consistently, you sleep good consistently, you have your balance in checks,
Yeah.
you really understand your body, you understand the
Hmm.
emotions, so you're able to control those emotions better because you know yourself better,
Yeah.
and then the foods you're eating are not full of who knows
Yeah.
what, and they're not messing with your brain.
Right. They're
You're
not
eating.
disrupting
They're not, and
all of our communication.
right, right, and then you go to the gym, you get out that great session, so you release all these endorphins, and you feel
Yeah,
really
so good.
good. You're ready to go. You're like, man, and then the coolest thing is also, you're like, I did something for me. Like, you
Yeah.
go into that gym and you work out. You're not working out for anybody else. Like,
Yeah.
maybe second hand it is for someone else, so you can be there more for your
Yeah.
family, but it really is for you. So
Yeah.
you're able to be selfish for that hour and just really focus on you, and then
Yeah.
you're doing stuff for yourself, and then you can just continue to just workout, anything else going on, I was like, man, a great workout will just make this whole day be so much better because you'll get out all
Um,
that frustration. If there was a bad day or whatever, we all have them. So, just lifting some weights and throwing them and all this stuff, that's therapy in itself. Like taking a slam ball and
yeah.
just slamming the crap out of it, just being able to do that
Yes.
stuff and, or some weights and just letting them drop. It's like, oh, that feels so good. So you get a
Yeah.
release at the same time. So
I
it's,
know, and I wish everyone could
I do too.
experience what you're talking about. Like that feeling is it's something special. And I was talking to one of my family members, and they dive a lot into like a lot of risky behaviors, meaning
Hmm.
tobacco use. And um, you know, they were like, "Well, am I always gonna feel this way?" I'm like, yes, probably because you're choosing to, and I hate to be like that, but it's like you're choosing those behaviors. What about instead of maybe smoking, you could go for a walk and try a different behavior and see if those endorphins like make you
Right.
feel better. Because and this person uses like smoking in general to like help with stress, and I know that that's a crutch, but it's like like if you could feel this endorphin rush from exercise, you wouldn't need that. And it's just hard, it's hard to change. Again, behavior change is hard. And
It is.
um but it's such a great feeling. And that's
Yeah, it is.
I love the feeling, even if it doesn't feel good at the time. It's afterwards is always so
It's
rewarding. And
true. Like sometimes it's getting up early in the morning and then you're like, oh my gosh, here we go. But then like once you're there, you're like, oh, I'm so glad I came. Like there's
yeah.
never been one time ever that I've left the gym unsatisfied. Like
No,
there's never been one time where I'm like, oh, I really hate that I came to work out today. Like, oh my gosh, never.
I
I may
know.
have on the way there been all like grumpy about like it's so early,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. But man, like when you leave, you're like, oh, I did something for me, and then that's it. You
Yeah.
you set that
Yeah.
tone, and that's so powerful. I think a lot of people
Hmm.
underestimate how powerful that is. But
Yeah, for sure. You would be a great 5 a.m. person to see. I know, even though if you didn't want to be there, you'd be like
yeah,
putting a smile
yeah,
on everyone's face.
I'm always very like, all right, well, we're here, let's do it. And then
I know.
you start seeing, your typical 5 a.m.ers like, hey, what's up, dude? Yeah, I'm here. I was like, oh, why do we do this
And
to
then
ourselves?
they want to see you, and
Yeah, that's the best
I
part
think
about it,
that's
I think.
yeah,
It's like that's like
that's so cool.
your little family away from the family.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's always a rare group at 5 a.m. And there's always like that one person that can put a smile on everyone's face
Yep, yep.
and
That's
and
what I
get
was.
the spirits going. And
Yep.
so that's awesome.
All right, so now we're gonna do the fun stuff challenge or
Great.
round, not challenge, it's a round. So, what are your top three favorite things to do on your rest days?
Top three favorite things. So I would say one thing that I love to do is go shopping. I
Yep.
really, I really love a good shopping experience, and I don't get them very often anymore. And it always has to be with my mom. Like I feel like I can spend money easier with my mom because we just are like, oh yeah, like you just have that connection again, and
Yep.
it's really therapeutic for me. But I love shopping. I love to be outdoors. Um, I we just recently put a pool in, and so like that's been so cool to just be like just sit in a pool or sit outside and really try to again like be present and enjoy things and not feel like you're rushing around. And there's something about a pool like that gives off that vibe of like just chill out. And so
Yep.
I've really enjoyed that. And I just love outdoors. Like I love scenery and love going for hikes. Missouri is probably not the best place for that, unfortunately. So Montana would be more
Yeah, it's beautiful.
my place for seeing like going on hikes.
Hmm.
Missouri's got a little too many ticks around here, so I try to avoid the forest.
Oof.
um, yeah, it's rough. probably my least favorite thing about Missouri. But
Well,
and then lastly, like just spend time with my kids. I think that's something that I'm always trying. Again, I feel like I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and I always feel like there's just never enough time, and you're always trying to do all of these things, but just really trying to be present for them because again, they just grow up really fast, but just trying to, play when I maybe would rather take a nap or watch a Netflix show or something, but it's
yeah,
like if your child's asking you to play, maybe they're having a bad day and they're trying to communicate. And I always try to keep that in the back of my mind. Like if they're asking for you to do something with them, it might just be like how we ask people to hang out, we need conversation. They don't really know how to kind of ask for that. So
absolutely.
that's always something that I always try to keep in the back of my mind is like, again, I'm striving to be a better person. And I think kids sometimes are easy to be like, oh, we'll do it tomorrow. But if you can just say, like, okay, I'm going to do it. And,
Right.
you know,
But that comes
so
back to being present.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. And
instead of
all of those
it
things
really does
comes
instead of
back
just
to,
being like no later or tomorrow or whatever because you're right,
yeah,
we think to us it's like, oh, just a kid, he'll be fine,
yeah,
but it'll come a time when they'll stop asking because they're
I
like, well, every
know.
time I ask you can't
You
or you
say
say
no.
no, so I just
Yeah.
stopped asking, and they're like, no, ask me please.
I know. That's so true.
Yeah, and my
Yeah.
youngest nephew's name is Jaden also.
Oh,
Actually,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Jaden, yeah, she's my little sassy girl and she's almost 3, so she's,
oh,
hitting that fun age or maybe not so fun age of personality and um no, but it's great and I think it's important to just like you said, be present and slow down
yeah,
and so
yeah,
those are be
absolutely.
my things on my rest
Those
days.
are your
I try to
things.
just
I
yeah,
like
I
it.
try to yeah.
What about
Pretty simple, but
that? But that's again, that's why not? Just
yeah,
not we everything else is complicated as it is every single day.
I
So
know
why do our things we do on rest days also need to be complicated?
for sure.
Just
Yeah, I agree.
make them more relaxed. That's good. How about your three favorite foods?
3 favorite foods. Wow, it's really changed recently. Because I've really tried to not go fully plant-based, but try to just change my ways a little bit. And so I think my number one favorite food right now would be nuts. I love all types of nuts, and I like to experiment with them and make them like different flavors or salty or not salty, but I shouldn't ever use the word salty, savory or sweet and trying to, just kind of mess around with different recipes. So that's
Yeah.
one thing that I really enjoy. I always love ice cream. It's probably one just my favorite
Yup.
thing is ice cream. I love it. And then lastly, like my favorite other food. Um, I'm trying to think of something that would be. I guess so. One thing that I'm really all about is chickpeas. I love
Oh,
chickpeas. I
nice.
love them in everything. I love them in salads. Love them in eggs. I love them in like any dish possible. I just love
Yeah.
adding them to everything. And again, I'm trying to just reduce my amount of meat intake. So I've been eating them a lot. So very strange favorite foods, but that would be that would be my favorite currently.
Those are good though. I don't
Yeah.
I if I was to say favorites, I don't think I would have said any of those as favorites, except the ice cream.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, the only time I like ice cream, I don't know if you've ever heard this before. The only time I like ice cream is when it's really cold outside. That's
Really?
the only time I
Yeah,
actually crave ice cream when it's
I
cold
think I would
outside.
be the same. Because like in the summer and stuff, when it's really hot, I
No,
never want ice
I
cream.
don't care at all for
Like
it.
it doesn't sound, and always, when I'm in Montana, I always go to like the same ice, and it's always freezing when I go to
Yeah.
Montana.
Yeah.
And so and I always get ice cream there. So
Yeah.
maybe that's true for me too.
Everyone said like you're so weird. I remember last time I was in Tennessee, I was like, I need some ice cream, and it was super cold. It was like in the 30s, and then when
Yeah.
I was just now in Oklahoma, I was like, Ashley, I want ice cream. She's like, it's like 20 degrees. I was like, I know, this one is perfect. But, so I feel you with that one. And how about movies? Top 3 favorite movies.
Ooh, this is this is probably always changing as well, because to be completely honest, I watch about 5 minutes of a movie and completely fall asleep very quickly. It's it's a bad trait. I can't stay awake. I have to be very strategic about when I watch movies. But so maybe why I pick these movies is because they keep me awake. But that would be like any really action movie. I love
Yep.
Liam Neeson,
Yeah.
any movie that he's in, but like specifically Taken,
Yeah.
Denzel. He's like always
Oh,
got
he's
some
the
action
best.
movies.
He's
Yeah,
so
he's
great.
one of my faves. Recently one that I watched, and it's an old movie of Denzel's, is The Hurricane. Have you
Yeah.
watched that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super great. I always like I thought I've watched every one of his movies, but I obviously didn't, and that was really good. And then let's see, another movie that, I mean, I like chick flicks too. They keep me like tied in. So any of those, but I also like oh yeah, one that I love always is The Guardian. So any really like action movie, um, I like, because I think it keeps me awake.
To
And
keep you awake,
honestly,
probably. Yeah.
yeah, and well, and obviously it's interesting to me, so I stay awake. Um,
Yeah.
so there has to be some kind of like
D-
scientific evidence why I fall asleep.
You're like, I'm relaxed right now. Good night.
I'm bored.
Yeah, I'm bored. There's no weightlifting here. I'm done.
Yeah, I know. It's got to be, yeah, I do like action, which I don't love comedy, and like comedy could put me right to sleep, which is
Yeah.
weird.
Huh.
But
It gets you relaxed, I guess.
yeah, yeah, I guess. I just don't think I pay attention is the
Yeah.
problem.
It just doesn't keep you engaged. Yeah.
Or I don't understand the comedy, and that's a big, my husband loves comedy, and he's always like, "Don't you think this is so funny?" And I'm like,
Like,
no, I'm not getting it.
Oh my gosh. And then the most important question of all, this is the one I was waiting for, is do you believe in Sasquatch?
Oh yeah. Yes. I would say I believe in a form of Sasquatch. Um and I don't know why, because I guess like growing up in Montana, you always are looking for Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Always. Like we're in the forest, and you know something's got to be out there. And so I feel like, especially in Montana, like you're always looking for something that's just massive, and it'll jut out of the trees, and you don't know what to do if you see it. It could be like a bear, but I feel like there's creatures out there that, mammals and humans, they we are
Same.
derived from very similar, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
similar. Our makeup is very similar, so there's got to be
Yeah.
something that, and probably in areas that no one goes to. Like I always think of Sasquatch also being in like Alaska, or very cold climates where like no one's really around. So who's to say that there's been a lot of like
Yeah.
research on for
I'm telling you. And I'm glad he said yes, because now we can air the episode. No, I'm kidding. Yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy. I totally agree with you.
yeah, like there's got to be
It's gotta be something.
something out there, and I consistently either look for that, or like mountain lions or bears, or something, but something big that we just don't know about has to
Yep,
be out
I agree.
there. And there's a lot of our earth that is not, I
Not
don't think,
explored yet. Yeah.
explored yet. And I could see, a Sasquatch being in a colder climate where no one likes to go.
Yeah.
So, but
So, thank you for playing the fun round.
yes, anytime.
So, so what message would you want to send out to anyone that's listening right now? I know we went from really fun, light stuff to deep.
Yeah, my number one message that I think if I could have a banner that I just like walked around with, it would be consistency over perfection. The word consistency is like my favorite word of all time. And I just feel like it's if you're consistent with anything that you're doing that you're passionate about, or just that you want to maybe better in your life, if you can just continue to be consistent and not perfect, and that's really really hard for people to not be perfect, and to say, like, I'm just putting in the work each and every day, but I'm also not expecting much out of it. And so consistency over perfection, and just stay the course. Like, we really, and this was later on in my life, but we really can do anything we want to do. I always felt like as a young adult, like going into college, I was like, I have to do X, Y, and Z because I'm only that smart, or, this is my limitation. Then when I went to dietetic school, I was like, I really didn't ever think that I could study biochemistry or OChem, and like I didn't think I could make it through these courses, but
Yeah.
I put in the work, and yes, I think it was a little more challenging for me than others, but still I was able to overcome a lot of those harder things, and I was just consistent with what I knew what I wanted, and I was consistent with what I was doing. And just keep reaching for those goals that you may think are impossible, because any like literally we could do anything we want to do. And it's really cool to, I think the older we get, we start to think that way. And I wish I could go back and tell, I have told people this, that don't take my advice because they think that they know everything, especially like siblings. And
Oh man, yeah.
yeah, like, I've done this. Just listen to me and do
Mhm.
what I say. Please, just do it once. And they're like, I have to do this my own way. And,
Yep. Yep.
but so consistency over perfection, and just stay the course. Like, it's lots of bumps along the way, but there is I don't know if there's a finish line ever, but there's uh, achievement hash marks or something along the
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
and we can reach them. So,
I agree with you. That's so good because we do never stop learning.
hmm
We're always learning, no matter what. There's always room to grow. The moment you think you know everything, that's when I think like you fail.
yeah,
Like we're always learning. We're always gonna see something differently, and I love that what you said, consistency over perfection. That is key. So
yeah,
1% better every day,
that's
consistency over
right.
perfection. Have your ice cream every now and then, but keep it balanced and
Right.
just
Yeah.
just stay the
We can't have it
course.
every day, or
Yeah, I know, right?
unfortunately, we can't. But
Yep.
yeah, it's yeah, just a journey. And I think also, feeling good while we do things is also just, it's really, again, just so infectious if you can feel that. And I encourage people to like search for what makes them feel good,
Absolutely.
and you
Absolutely.
know continue to just keep living, because
Yep.
it's pretty special.
It is. And then to live and then to not just that's one thing I put on my Instagram that I'm working on living, not existing. Because
Yeah.
you could be here on earth, of course, but are you truly living your life or are you just here,
Yeah.
just existing and going through the motions? But if you
Yeah.
do those things that you've talked about today, you'll actually begin to live your life and want
Yeah.
to, you know, get the most out of it while you're here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
For sure.
this was so nice, Jessie. I really, really
Thank
enjoyed.
you, Luis.
It was a blast, and I'm so happy that
Yeah,
we did
thank you
this.
for having me.
Absolutely, and I know you'll be back with the Thoughts Become
Let's do it
Things
again.
series. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it again.
And so how can people get a hold of you if they want to follow you, like on social media or anything like that?
Yeah, so I'm really only on Instagram, and I'm not the best with social media, so something I'm also working on to get better at. But it's Jessie underscore RDN at 88. So no at.
Yeah,
Jessie underscore RDN 88. Um,
perfect.
and yeah, and then like CrossFit St. Robert, we have Facebook page, and so if you are in the military and you're ever coming to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, look us up, and I promise we will be the best hour of your day in this area, because there's not much else to do besides work out, so we will be it for you. But yeah,
I love it.
so
Perfect. And I'll put all the links and uh, the addresses, the
website.
handles, and all that. I'll put them all in the
Okay,
description. So if anyone wants to check those out, absolutely. But
awesome.
again, it was such a pleasure having you on, Jesse.
Thank you, Luis.
And thanks everybody also for tuning in.